Welcome back, class 8th. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I was taking up health and nutrition, that is lesson number 8 in biology, and I had continued with the vitamin deficiencies and started with the mineral deficiency, in which I had taken up iron, iodine, calcium and potassium. Today let's proceed on further. So we all know that the foods which are rich in sodium are basically seafood, comprising of the various sea animals including fishes and then all kinds of fishes and others aquatic animals which are edible, and the edible table salt that we are consuming in the form of sodium chloride is also rich in sodium, and butter rich, that is the salty butter, and we have saltless butter and salty butter, both kinds. That is the yellow butter which is available contains sodium, and there are many other sources including the egg, chickpea and all. They contain large amount of sodium. So what is the basic function of sodium in our body? We all know that sodium is one of the body's three major electrolytes, and potassium and chloride are the two components of the electrolytes which is present in our body, and these electrolytes control the fluids going in and out of the body's tissues and cell. And when the body becomes dehydrated, in case of severe vomiting and diarrhea, it loses fluid and electrolytes. So its basic role is in maintenance of healthy functioning of nerves, which are greatly affected if there is disturbance in the electrolyte level or disturbance in the amount of sodium, potassium and chloride in our body. So the deficiency symptoms include leg cramps. Cramps may be basically in legs or any other part of the body. Muscular cramps, that is there is spasmodic pain which is not continuous but on movement pain, that is in the form of leg cramps, and there is problem in the motion of that particular part in which cramps occur. And there is fatigue means a feeling of tiredness. A person feels exhausted and fatigue if there is a deficiency of sodium in the body. And these are the sulfur rich food, and eggs and garlic are one of the very rich sources of sulfur, including other vegetables and nuts which contain sulfur. So you should take proper amount of these food, also include them in your daily diet. So a deficiency of sulfur in the diet causes unhealthy hair and nails, along with other symptoms like brittle nails and hair convulsions, that is fits, gastrointestinal issue and many more. Even in very severe cases of deficiency of sulfur, they can be obesity and heart diseases also. So what is the basic function is it helps in formation of proteins in the body, which help us in the growth of all the parts of the body, helping in the formation of proteins. So the basic deficiency diseases is the unhealthy hair and nails and hair both appear to be unhealthy. They are not in the form in which they appear in a healthy person. Then degenerative diseases are caused because of the deterioration in the structure, that is in which the structure and function of a particular organ of the body is not normal, but it deviates away from the normal because of structural changes, because of those structural changes there can be a change in the functioning of that part of the body, and that generally occurs because of the aging process, that is with the advancing age. So these diseases are the diseases in which the function or structure of the affected tissues or organ increasingly deteriorate over time, that is it becomes less and less, and whether due to normal body wear or lifestyle choices such as exercise or eating habits can reduce the occurrence of these diseases. If you remain active and indulge in some sort of physical activity and and maintain a healthy lifestyle, that is having a balanced diet, along with that maintaining a daily routine of exercise, it can really it can in fact reduce the occurrence of these diseases. So these diseases are the diseases which occur because of advancing age. So some of the examples of these diseases are cataract, arthritis, arteriosclerosis, which I had mentioned in circulatory system. Arteriosclerosis, I had told you. You can see this. These are the normal person eyes, that is the normal eyes with clear lens, and here there is opacity. There has been a layer which has developed in front of the lens. So cataract is an opacity. What is an opaque substance? Through which light cannot pass through, of the normally clear lens, which will develop as a result of aging, metabolic disorders, trauma, that is some injury, or due to hereditary factors. And the eye turns, eye lens turns, lens is the part through which vision is possible, isn't it? Through which light can pass through and we are able to see. So it turns opaque. So it may even cause total blindness if not treated on time. So this layer is removed through surgery and a person gets clear vision, and then it is replaced by a new lens. Then arthritis is another example of degenerative diseases. Now this is a disorder in which there is progressive softening and disintegration of articular cartilage by new growth of cartilage and bone at the joint margins and capsular fibrosis. Now basically what is happening in this, that in very simple words, it is the inflammation and stiffness of the joint. There is inflammation, that is swelling of the joints, and stiffness. Because of that swelling there is stiffness. That particular part appears to be tight, stiff. Exactly. And just because of this inflammation and stiffness, what is happening? The joint becomes painful, and the movement of that particular joint becomes limited just because of that pain. Once you start moving that part of the body or that joint, just because of that stiffness and inflammation, that is painful, and this pain reduces the movement of the joint. So basically the effective treatment of the disease is exercise and healthy lifestyle, that is maintaining a healthy diet and involving in some kind of physical exercise, so that all the joints remain in movement, they don't become stiff and inflamed. So this is arthritis or osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is arthritis of the bone. Next disease is arteriosclerosis. I told this earlier also, that the inner lining of the arteries become thick and hard due to deposition of cholesterol. The deposition of cholesterol occurs and the inner lining becomes thick and hard. So that is why the blood flow gets reduced, and whatever blood that is flowing is with high pressure, and once it is flowing with high pressure, then it is definitely causing high blood pressure in that individual in which arteriosclerosis is present, and this is called as hypertension. So it occurs when the blood vessels that carry oxygen and nutrients from our heart to the rest of our body become thick and stiff, just because of the deposition of cholesterol, and this sometimes restricts blood flow to other organs and tissues. Is it clear? If you compare them to healthy arteries, the healthy arteries are flexible and elastic, but over time, just because of this deposition, the walls in our arteries can harden. Is that clear? And this is known as arteriosclerosis, which is a major cause of hypertension or high blood pressure. Now the genetic disease or the hereditary diseases. Now these diseases are the diseases which are passed on, or they are passed down from one generation to another generation, that is from the parents to the offspring, and these diseases are called as the genetic diseases, that just because they are carried in our genes are the part, or genes are inherited from our parents. That is, we are our children's we are our parents' children just because our genes are the same. If we don't have any proof, and we are tested, then our parents and we are all of us have the same gene. So these genes are basically the so what is heredity? That is the passing of traits from parents to children is the basis of heredity. Traits means the characteristics. Is that clear? And these traits are noticeable feature or quality that you can easily see that certain children are the total replica of their parents, whether father or mother, and even maybe grandfather, grandmother, then aunts and uncles, they might be resembling just because of these characteristics which are being passed on from one generation to another generation through the genes. So in simple terms, you can say that the fundamental physical and functional unit of heredity, that is what we are inheriting from our parents, is called as genes. And the diseases which are passed down from one generation to another are called as genetic diseases. Examples are hemophilia, thalassemia, color blindness. Is that clear? These are all examples of hereditary or genetic diseases. So hemophilia is a genetic disease in which the clotting of blood takes place very slowly, and just because of absence of certain special clotting factor. I had told you, if you are injured, then blood oozes out, and then a time comes when the blood flow stops, and that particular part solidifies. There is a solid which is formed on the surface of that particular injured part. So this is called as clotting, and very important. Just because any cut in the body or any injury in the body might bleed you to death if this process does not occur, but in people who are suffering from hemophilia, which is a genetic disease, the clotting of blood takes place very slowly. And just because there are certain clotting factors which are involved in the whole process, these are absent in the people who are suffering from this disease. So in such people, bleeding does not stop easily, and a person may bleed to death from a cut or a wound. So these people have to be given some these factors externally, otherwise they might bleed to death just because these factors are missing in the body. Is it clear? They are missing a clotting factor, and left untreated, people with this disease could bleed to death from a cut or gash. Cut can be a small one or a major cut. Is it clear? So this is hemophilia. Another genetic disease is thalassemia. Now this is a disease in which hemoglobin of RBCs, you know that hemoglobin, the red colored pigment which is responsible for imparting red color to the blood, as well as it serving as an oxygen carrier in the body. This here the hemoglobin of the RBCs is defective, and a child suffering from this disease needs blood transfusion very frequently. Is that clear? Just because there is reduced or absent synthesis of one or more of the globin chains of hemoglobin. So I need not go into the detail of this, but you should know that there is some defect in the hemoglobin of such people, and they have to be given blood transfusion every month or as the condition is. So this is also a genetic disease. Then cancer. We all know that cancer is an abnormal growth of cell, and it has an ability to involve adjacent tissues, that is the tissues which are near it, and even these cells can get broken up from the site, and then in later cases they may, or later stages, they might migrate to distant parts, and eventual death of the affected patient occurs. Is that clear? So it is an abnormal and uncontrolled growth of cell in any part of the body, and these cancerous cells they invade or they attack and destroy the nearby normal cells, and they affect the overall functioning of the organs of the affected organ. And later on, when it spreads to the whole body, then eventual result or the subsequent result is death. Now, the cancers can be of various types. They can develop in various parts of the body. It can be lung cancer, breast cancer, skin cancer, blood cancer, and cancer of the mouth and throat. But that is, the mouth and throat cancer are very common. Is that clear? And so you can see the various parts. Even brain cancer is there, and other type of cancer occurring in the large intestine, then in the stomach, kidney, liver, lung. It can occur in any part of the body. So the factors which are responsible for it can be due to overexposure to ultraviolet rays, or it can be just because of chewing of tobacco or smoking and contact with certain chemicals which might be radioactive, or excessive use of plastics. That can also be a cause of cancer, or there can be some change in the genes also, which can be a major source of factor. Then lifestyle, that is what I've said just now, that is smoking and lack of exercise or unhealthy diet, including a lot of junk food in your diet. That can be also a major cause of cancer. But if this deadly disease is detected on time and the treatment starts earlier, then a person can be easily treated at early stages. Then what is an allergy? So allergy is an overreaction of the immune system. The immune system is what the system which is protecting us or providing resistance against various toxins, various microorganisms, that is various diseases, and protecting us from all sorts of harmful substances and harmful diseases. That system is known as the immune system. And in some people, there is an overreaction of the immune system to a substance that's harmless to most people. So some people, when exposed to dust or pollens, they start sneezing, or they might have difficulty in breathing and fall sick, or they might even develop some kind of rashes or redness or pain. Any kind of symptom can be shown. And especially when some people eat protein rich foods like eggs, fish, or even milk also some people are consuming, they develop rashes on the skin. Generally this is there when people are consuming eggs and fish, that is, they are hypersensitive to certain foreign substances. Is that clear? And this hypersensitivity in the case of eggs and fish is to that protein rich food. So what do you mean by the hypersensitivity? That is, hyper means more than normal. Is that clear? So they are hypersensitive to certain foreign substances like dust and pollens, and this is called as allergy. And the substances that cause an allergy, they are known as allergens. Allergens. Is that clear? So there may be certain foods, drugs, cosmetic, pollens, dust, and perfumes. So these are some of the symptoms of an allergy. That is rashes, eyes can be start watering, that is lacrimation, that is just because this is the term which is associated with the lacrimal gland of the eye. That is, eyes start watering, they can be sneezing or running nose or red eyes or even itching. So the unfavorable response of the body to certain foreign substances or allergens is called an allergic reaction. Exaggerated means more than normal, much more than normal. That is known as exaggerated. Is that clear? And this I have told you, these allergy symptoms might be in the form of sneezing, breathing problems, vomiting, and nausea. Nausea is feeling of vomiting. Then asthma or asthma, it is one of the most common diseases, and it is caused by the allergy to pollens and dust. And here in this there can be chronic inflammation, long term inflammation of airways of the lungs, and that is characterized by increased responsiveness of tracheobronchial tree, that is the trachea is the windpipe, and then it branches further into various other smaller tubes that are known as the bronchi and bronchioles. So I will not go into the details. It causes breathing difficulties. So this is one of the most common diseases which is associated with increased pollution. Also air pollution is one of the major causes. Apart from this, the various allergens which are present in the air, and they can be because of the amount increased pollen of certain plants and dust also. Then eczema is another allergic condition. So this eczema is the allergic reaction of the skin, and this is sometimes called the itch that rashes, because the itching usually comes first, and after that itching then rashes also develop, which can be of various types. They can occur in children as well as in adults. Now, this is the type of eczema which occurs other parts of the body in grown-ups. That is, affected areas may be red, light pink, or darker brown, purple, or ash gray, and dry scaly areas. So this you can see, these are the various parts in which eczema has developed. Then I had told you about the hormones, that is these are the chemicals which are secreted by the endocrine glands, that is they are conventionally defined as organic substance which are produced in small amounts by specific tissues, that is the endocrine glands, ductless glands, and they are secreted directly into the bloodstream, and they control the metabolic and biological activities in the target cells, that is wherever they are showing the effect they are known as the target cells. So I have told you about various hormonal diseases, that is diseases that are caused due to less or over secretion of these hormones in the body. So example of such diseases are diabetes, goiter, which I have already explained in the earlier chapters. Now this is goiter, where there is the swelling of the thyroid gland just because of the less secretion of thyroxine, the hormone which is secreted from the thyroid gland. So this caused an enlarged thyroid gland. This is seen in the form of swelling in the neck region. Now another example of hormonal disease is diabetes, or you can also call it diabetes mellitus, and it is caused due to less or no secretion of the insulin hormone, the hormone which is secreted by the pancreas, and this is a group of metabolic diseases characterized by increased levels of glucose in the blood, resulting from the less or no secretion of insulin hormone. So both diabetes and goiter are example of hormonal diseases. Please revise it. Allah Hafiz.